So we're back with Q&A time. Today's video, I'm going to answer all of the questions that you asked that involves thyroid. So let's go ahead and let's get on into this. So first question, my fat loss is really slow. Can this be due to a slow thyroid? Okay, so this is a question that I'm not going to be able to give you a direct answer to, only because I don't know much about what you're doing. Let's say your calories are really low and you have a really high energy expenditure. That could potentially be the problem. You may have a slow thyroid. You may even have hypothyroidism. I'm not sure. That's something you won't know until you get your panels done, or maybe you're experiencing some hormone imbalances, and that's causing things to be slow. Maybe you're a high stressor and that's causing things to be slow. So I just don't know enough about you to really give you the right answer. Okay, next question. When should I stop taking my multis? They have biotin pre getting my labs done. Okay, so you're going to want to stop taking your multivitamins that have biotin in them at least 2 to 3 days out before getting your lab panels done. That way they're not skewing your thyroid panel testing specifically. I am hypothyroid. Any tips on weight loss? Well, again, in this kind of situation, it depends on where your levels are at. That's going to be the biggest thing. Where are your T3 levels at specifically? Is your TSH a little bit higher? So it really depends on those things. And then also too, the conversion rate between T4 to T3. Are those things properly converting? So all those things do play a factor into hypothyroidism. Now, if you are, like on medication for this and you're properly dosed, that's going to be the key here. You could definitely lose weight, with being hypothyroid. The thing is that you're just going to have to make sure your thyroid is staying in a good place and you are being properly dosed. And of course, you're going to want to be implementing, refeed days, because that's going to help boost up the function of your thyroid, especially coming from carbohydrates, and also, considering diet breaks. And last but not least, make sure that you're starting on the highest calories possible when you do start your fat loss off, because you're not going to want to start really low, because that's only going to drive your levels down a lot faster. But first thing I would do is, where are your thyroid panels at to begin with? That's going to be the important thing. Okay, next question. My T3 levels are low, but I still want to lose weight. Is this possible, or am I running in circles? You're running in circles. just to be blunt, you are running in circles, because the thing is, if your T3 levels are low and you're constantly in a calorie deficit, you're just pissing in the wind, okay? Without a metabolism, you're not going to be able to really lose weight. So what I would recommend in this situation is stay out of that calorie deficit for a little while. Go into maintenance, work on reverse dieting, work on bringing calories up, because once you do that, that should improve your T3 levels and just your thyroid as a whole. So that would be my recommendation, because the thing is, you don't want to stay running in circles, because it's really frustrating. Next question. How do I improve my thyroid health? I'm a chronic dieter, but scared to eat more food. All right. So you're just going to have to, honestly, you're going to have to try to get over the fact that more food is equal to fat gain, because that's not the case. I just think society kind of puts that thought in our head, and that's what freaks us out. Okay. So what I would recommend you do is maybe start off slow, but first things first, take yourself out of that calorie deficit. Start off slow by putting yourself in maintenance, and then just hold within maintenance, or even kind of work your way up within your maintenance, especially if you're adding in an activity factor into that, and just hold around there for a little while. And the thing is, you just have to trust the process and understand, look, Just because I increase my calories and I'm eating at maintenance, it does not mean that I'm going to get fat. That's the biggest thing. And then from there, I would slowly start trying to bring calories up a little bit and go from there. Because the thing is you don't want to put yourself in maintenance, hold there for a little bit, then just go right into a calorie deficit again, because that's not going to do anything for the health of your thyroid. What helps your thyroid is staying out of that calorie deficit. All right, next question. I train 7 days a week and do 20 minutes of cardio 7 days a week as well, and I'm having a hard time losing weight. Any advice? Stop training 7 days a week and cut cardio down, okay? Cardio, number one, should be a tool, okay? And that it should be implemented when it's needed. Training 7 days a week is way too much, and you're not even allowing yourself recovery to happen. And that's probably why you're not losing weight. And also, if you have a high energy output and you're not allowing recovery to happen, your thyroid's going to downregulate, because that's what our bodies do, especially if you're training 7 days a week and having a constant stress be on your body without having any days off from training. So stop the training 7 days a week, okay? I would cut it down to at least 4 to 5, and I would try to cut back or at least start tapering down cardio until you don't have any, and maybe just focus on getting in steps and working on your NEAT versus throwing cardio in there. All right, last question. My T3 is at a 2.8 and my doctor wants to put me on meds, but I don't want to be on thyroid medication since my levels are right below the optimal levels. Any advice? Do not take the thyroid medication. Here's the thing. When it comes to taking thyroid medication, it's one of those things like, will it help boost your thyroid up? Absolutely. But the downfall to that is that you're probably going to have to be on thyroid medication for the rest of your life here on out, because you're putting in a synthetic drug or a synthetic hormone, and it's going to stop the brain from firing off and telling the thyroid, oh, produce more, because you're putting it in your body already. So I honestly would not take that, because it sounds like you have a T3 level of 2.8, and honestly that's pretty good. Like, you're not far off from the optimal level. So I would just stay out of that calorie deficit, and eventually your thyroid is going to be in a healthy spot and your T3 levels are going to come up, because the last thing you're going to want to do too is be put on T3. A lot of doctors, they'll put you on T4 before putting you on T3, because T3, it can be a dangerous thing. It can cause heart attack, and you don't want that.